Yeah, we gotta be on like 1 minute.
All right.
Yeah, we got. Here we go. Welcome back to PoPolitickin.com, your home for self-help meets hip-hop. Right now, we're live on YouTube, but check us out on Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. 1 place to be with Laurence Wilson. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well, and yourself? I'm glad to be on the show. Looking forward to the conversation that we're about to have.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So I was just trying to get a little bit about your background. I see you do, it seems like you help with set up political campaigns and such.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So my background really has kind of been broad. The last year and a half, I was on now President Biden's campaign, and through that, I was able to travel the country, setting up all the events. So anytime you saw him on TV, I would have set up everything from start to finish. That means traveling 4 or 5 days ahead of him, finding venue space, working with the local media, the national press, and just setting up all the logistics for what you see on TV. And we call it in the political world advance. And I was a part of his national advance team. And from there, I had the privilege of being on now Senator Reverend Dr. Raphael Warnock's campaign. I was able to help flip the Senate in Georgia and ensure that President Biden and Vice President Harris have a Senate majority in the U.S. Senate.
Hmm. And how did you help flip it?
Well, same thing. So I was in charge of all the events. We did 30 events across the state of Georgia, from November when the runoff happened until the election, January 5th. And really what that entails is getting the community engaged, putting out a press release, telling the community we're having a drive-in rally. We're going to, you guys show up at this time. And basically, having a DJ, having, stage. We had LED screen, a large LED screen where people can see it from their cars. They can also listen, from their radio stations in their cars. We practice the most safest, socially distanced, COVID safe rally, and basically just doing outreach, community outreach with, the local people so that they can, kind of see and feel exactly what, Reverend's platform, what, President Biden's platform was, and, why they felt that, this was one of the most consequential and important elections of our lifetime.
Hmm. So how do what I know I'm just asking because it's like it's kind of like a new age right now. So to get the word out, like what are you using? Are you using social media? Are
So,
you using
yep.
radio? What you doing?
Yep. So we use the same traditional platforms. We will put out a press release, so that means the local TV will put on the news or put it on their websites. We would send out a mobilized link where people can sign up for it, and then your traditional word of mouth. And in the political space, it's basically in order to get somebody engaged with the candidate or the cause. Traditionally we would knock on doors, we would make phone calls, ask them why they support this person, what issue is most effective with them, whether that's their health care, their housing, their uh, you know uh, water, sewer, because all of that comes from the political space. The mayors, the city council, the governors, state legislatures, and then on up to the president, the U.S. House and Congress. They're the peoples that are writing the laws that affect us in our everyday life. And I know a lot of people say, I don't know if I want to vote for this person, my vote don't count and all that. Well, if you look at what happened last year, we just got the worst president ever out of office. And that was because especially black people showed up in tremendous numbers and was able to do some extraordinary things, especially what happened in Georgia. Georgia sent the first black senator to the U.S. Senate since Reconstruction. He sent the first Jewish congressman or first Jewish senator to the U.S. Senate, and that was the power of the people. Even though when President Biden won the election in November, he won by 12,000 votes, but black people showed up in those numbers. So if you ever have this problem where you think that my vote doesn't count, look at history. We got Trump out of office, and that is the power of voting, the power of your voice, and the power of the people.
So how to tell us more about your background, how you got involved with politics?
For sure, for sure. So I started actually in the political world 20 years ago. So I have been fortunate enough to have a congressman that was well, he's not in office now. His last term was last year, but I was able to have a congressman who kind of just took me under his wing. You know, I was a little kid knocking on doors, making phone calls when I was 13, and from there I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, you know, I saw the power of being in the community, the power of, you know, bringing the community together and putting on events. And then from there, I interned with him in high school. And then again in college, I graduated from the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. So after the summer after my freshman year, I went to DC and worked on Capitol Hill with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. And that was then when I was able to meet then Senator Obama when he was running for president. And from that moment is, you know, I was like, this is actually really cool because I was able to be in a private meeting with Senator Obama and actually really talk to him and, you know, just see like, you know, everything that he was trying to push and all of the members, the Black members of Congress supporting him. And then from there went back to my school, you know, registered my whole campus to vote and just basically, you know, showed them, you know, why it's important to vote and just like, you know, do it in layman's terms, as you know, to say, because, you know, we see stuff on TV, but, you know, the work that I do is behind the scenes. It's bringing the people to the table. It's, you know, bringing the community together. It's, you know, having people understand, you know, how bills become laws and, you know, how all these laws affect, you know, our everyday life. And then from that point, I was able to work on former President Barack Obama's campaign in 2012, and then moved to DC and, you know, just kind of, you know, did the consultant space and, you know, event space, and then, you know, joined President Biden's campaign in August of 2019.
Yeah,
And
you
there was
said
some other things in between there, but
you worked with Hillary Clinton too, right?
Yep, I worked with Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2016, and actually through her campaign, when she lost, I actually had a nervous breakdown and said that I would never do politics again because nobody would hire me for over a year, and it was a point where I went through a depression, and you know, just was like, this is not for me. You know, I'm done with this. So I kind of, you know, fell into the realm of starting my own company, Wilson Brand, and you know, just started. I started managing tours. So I managed the March for Our Lives tour with the Parkland, Florida shooting survivors. So I managed their tour across the country, raising awareness about, you know, trying to end, you know, mass shootings and like have stricter gun laws. And did that in the summer of 2018, and then then had a client in Chicago. So I did a lot of community activity work there. And then actually ran a city council race in Atlanta in February of 2019, where I actually, you know, ran a guy who had never run for office before, grew up Jehovah's Witness, so they never vote anyways, or not, you know, of course, that's against their religion, and was able to win that election and kind of got the spark back and wanted to be in politics again. And then from that moment is when I, you know, joined, then former Vice President, now President Biden's campaign.
Yeah, and I kind of want to go back to what you said because I don't think like, especially like Black people or Black men, we probably don't talk about mental health as much. So I want you to, like, how did you know you was going through a nervous breakdown? Like, what is a nervous breakdown? How did you know you was going through it?
For sure. Well, for sure. So the crazy part about it, I actually ran into the back of a parked car, and it was an Uber driver. I was parked at the light, and you know, I literally was in Cuba the day before, and I was with my grandparents, and I was saying, you know, I think my life's about to change. Like, you know, somebody's gonna call me for a job, and then this happened. So it was an experience that, you know, I was like, wow, because I was always the type of person, through every struggle, through every setback, I would find a way to, you know, hustle, like go harder. And, you know, this particular time I would literally just, you know, close the blinds in the house and, you know, lay on the couch all day. I would take, you know, I could never sleep. So I would take NyQuil to try to go to sleep. And then not suicide or anything, but like, you know, I would have headaches every day, and I would, you know, throw up like pretty much every day. And it was just like, one of those experiences. And I was like, I kind of just gave up on trying. It's like, I'm not going to pay any more bills. I'm not going to let this stress me out because, I was just tired. I was just like mentally and physically tired. But one of the things that actually happened was, it was like Easter Sunday. I ended up going home. I'm originally from St. Louis. So I went home to St. Louis to, just be around my folks. And I spent a month there, and it just kind of like started slowly regaining my spark. And then I went back to DC in May. This is 2017. So I went back to DC, and then I was just like, I'm going to leave politics. I'm going to leave DC. I'm going to leave my girlfriend at the time. And I was just done with it. And from there, I moved to Dallas, Texas, to work for American Airlines because I like to fly and I wanted to be able to have those privileges. And then I literally just started, I would go out every day and run because I felt some of the effects started lingering, from throwing up when I was in DC. So I would literally go out every day and just run. And obviously, run a mile. Then I just started getting up to 5 miles, 7 miles. And then I started going hiking and just like, really started, retraining and redeveloping my mind. And then obviously, started working out. And from that point, things just started like, elevating for me. And it was just something that I just had to change my surroundings and let go of things that were holding me back. And I think from that point is when, fast forward to now, that's when this, the successes that I had dreamed for and longed for, over the last 10 years just started, coming back into play, basically because I had to shed some things that, were toxic and, holding me back. So I would say that's how I came out of it.
What do you say your goals are for your career?
Well, now, so I am going to be joining the Biden-Harris administration here soon. And I think I'm gonna still be in the logistics production side, but also moving kind of in the national security space. So like, looking at, the threats that's going on and just trying to be, more in that national security, foreign policy, that type of world. So, and I just see myself just continuing to build and, really, just building the production side and really making people understand, policies and laws that affect us in life.
Yeah, speaking of that, I would say it was a movement going on during the election with black people, like some of the black spokesmen. They were saying, hold your vote and don't vote till you receive tangibles. And I guess they're saying tangibles in form of like reparations or just something. And then, so what's your opinion about that?
Well, I would say this. We had kind of briefly mentioned this, and Black Lives Matter and the movement that started. I think when they originally started, it was a loosely based movement. Just basically with no structure. And I think that over the years, especially that what we saw last year with George Floyd, we saw more of a movement. And I know I participated in a couple rallies and over the summer last year, and actually one of them was ended up becoming Lil Baby's The Bigger Picture video. And, I had a hand in like, helping to do all the movements and logistics for that rally. And it was something that, I saw in what we started equipping people with is, we had shirts made that, people could use their phones and scan the QR code and it would take them to register to vote. And then, we would be able to track them and, continue working with them, like what policies, what initiatives that they really wanted to, see happen, whether it's from, upcoming presidential election. But, it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. Black people really are strength in numbers. And, we did have some, a lot of us say, I'm not going to vote. The Democratic Party doesn't do nothing for me. The Republican Party doesn't do nothing for me. But, at the end of the day, we have to be able to have that seat at the table. But we can't have the seat at the table if we don't vote. If we don't, I'm all for making sure that we are, putting our demands and the things that we're looking forward to. But we have to be in a position to put ourselves at the table so that we can be able to work from inside to be able to affect the change, to bring the change to our communities so that our communities are affected in a broader sense. And that is the power of the people. That, the election last year, especially in the Black community, what happened in Georgia, that was Black people rising to the occasion, saying, even though I see, I'm not going to vote, or I'm not going to do, I don't see any change, that, we basically saw. Now we have representation. We have people that really want to see, work done. I mean, even though, President Biden is 78, he's working hard every day, because he knew that this moment, he was the only one that could really step into this with the most experience to really, and as you can see, he hasn't even been in office a week, but he's already trying to go to work for the American people and do away with the divisiveness and destruction that we've had over the last 4 years.
Yeah, speaking of that, like right before you called in, I was looking at this video, and it was saying what stocks to buy under President Joe Biden. And then it says it had it cut in four parts. It said marijuana, infrastructure, 5G, and health. So I know that I've been hearing people say a lot about clean energy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why are they saying buy the marijuana stocks under Biden? Is he pushing marijuana too?
Well, I know that he wants to, like, he's for medical marijuana, and he's for, lowering the sentence for, people that have had, marijuana charges and drug offenses. Obviously, that is more of a kind of a state level thing. As you can see, a lot of states, like Colorado, you can go to a dispensary. California, go to this dispensary. So it's kind of like done on the more of the state level than it is the federal level. But it depends on, like, it goes back to how I said earlier, you have to vote for every part of government, from the local level to the federal level, because, if you have people that represent you, and I think you live in California, correct? So you can go to a dispensary, whereas, like, my home state of Missouri, it's not legal. But also Missouri is a very conservative red Republican state. And a lot of them just, that's just how it is. Whereas, Colorado is different than a Montana. So it's something that, he's going to look at and study all of the different things that are going to really make an effect on people. Whether that's, from the marijuana standpoint, whether it's the clean infrastructure, whether that's, he wants everybody to be able to go to the doctor and have health insurance, to build upon what him and President Obama started with the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, if you want to call it. And those are the things that, you'll start seeing the changes. But, right now we do have the majority in Congress, and those people and having the majority are going to be able to advance a lot of his agenda. But it goes back to, once again, we got to vote in larger numbers, so that we can have people that, are able to support him, so that, he's able to do his job even more effective.
So how do you feel about President Biden taking over? He's a new president. You was kind of hitting on it earlier, but how do you feel about, the last 4 years, and what are you, what's your hope towards the next 4 years?
Well, for me, it's about unity. It's about, our country is very divided, and we saw it on January 6th, and we saw it through, the years of Trump. And I think that, I know President Biden personally. I've, sat in meetings with him. I've walked with him. That's why I supported him, because, I did have an upfront, close access to him. And I was able to see the behind the scenes moment that you don't see on, cameras or on TV. And he's a very genuine, Catholic man. He really is a very genuine heart. And you got to realize he's seen struggle. He's seen tragedy. He lost his first wife and daughter in a car crash, when he was 29. His sons were badly injured. He lost his son in 2015 to brain cancer. So he's seen what struggling looks like head on. Whereas, the previous occupant, the narcissism, it's my way or the highway, so what we're going to see. And then you have Dr. Biden, who is a college professor. She is has taught her whole life, and, understands, that your zip code shouldn't define who you are as a person, that you should be able to thrive no matter, the circumstance that you come from. And these are going to be two individuals that really care about the people and really want to see the success of people across the board. So, obviously we're only a few days into the new administration, but, just follow what he's doing and follow what they're doing, and see, how it's going to affect you and your community and your state and your city and your county.
And then, so what are some of your interests outside of politics?
Well, I love to travel. So I've been to 18 countries, and I've been to 30, I think I'm at 34 US states. So my passion is traveling. I like being able to, I love water, I love hiking, I love nature, and I love architecture. So for me, that's something that I really just like, I'll go travel tomorrow if I can. Obviously COVID has prevented a lot of that, but traveling is something, and I love being around my family. I love and I love inspiring people, and I also want to see. I got to try to find the best in people, and put them in a position of where whether they're struggling or whether they have something going on, to be able to say, look at me, I'm just a kid from St. Louis, Missouri, that first generation college student, only one to have left home, youngest of three. My brothers are much older than me, but for me, it was about, really just setting the tone and setting an agenda. And, and yes, I've had many, like we said earlier, there's been a lot of struggling to get to this point, but, now I'm in a position to, really accept and I have the confidence level, but also, I want to see other people rise to where, I'm at, bring them to the table, because, it's not fun when you're only doing it by yourself, or you're the only one in a boardroom, and you see the changes that are happening in our communities or whatever, but I'm only one person, so unless you're actually sitting there watching it, it's kind of hard to relate to it. So that's why I appreciate you for bringing me onto this to your podcast, so that just kind of give you a little bit about me, and just how I arrived to where I'm at now.
I said, what's one of your favorite travel destinations?
Thailand. Thailand is by far my favorite destination. From seeing the green water, to riding an elephant, to petting a tiger, to what else did I do? Just to really be in tune with a whole nother culture that's totally different than what I'm used to. That is my favorite destination.
So and you was talking about inspire. You was kind of hitting on it, but I was saying, so what you try to inspire the people to do? Just be a better version.
Be a better version of yourself. Give back to your community. Uplift. Your little brothers. Uplift your sisters. Be that beacon of hope that sometimes it's just lost on deaf ears. To unite. To bring people into situations that they might not never never thought they had. I remember I guess it was about a week ago, I went to Mexico and I helped plan a 30th birthday party for my little cousin, and three of us had traveled out of the country, but the three of them had never been anywhere, and they were able to she was able to really experience and it was the best time of her life. But like, even though it was Cancun and I've been 4 times before, I was able to really make them happy. And that brought a smile to, everybody else that had, already traveled out of the country and, experienced that. And that was the best time of their life. So that makes me happy.
Now, what would you say is a good business to start right now?
I would say branding, so my company, I deal with like brand strategy. So I try to help elevate, brands, companies, put in a blueprint. But really, I think that, in this time, especially with, COVID going on, start a business. It's easy to get an LLC. Some states vary, but, it could be like $100. Start an LLC, put to perspective what you're good at, and just kind of come up with a blueprint on how you're going to, bring these ideas to fruition, whether you make, candles, or whether you make, hoodies, or, if you're into fitness, like brand yourself, market yourself, put yourself out there, never let people tell you no, and actually and have that extra source of income. Don't rely on a 9 to 5 job or somebody to kind of keep you at the bottom. Rise above it, and start that LLC. Go after your dreams. Do what you feel is necessary.
Yeah. Shout out to rappertshirts.com and Little Notes, because we sell hoodies and camels
Exactly.
over here.
And you can send me a hoodie, send me a hoodie, and I'll help you with the branding, put it out there, and help, elevate what you're trying to do.
That's what's up.
I mean, this is what it's about, these conversations, and helping each other. These are the moments that, we should all thrive to be in.
So how was it meeting Lil Baby?
He's very shy, but really nice guy. Super, super shy. Like, I was like, hey, I want you to speak. Nah. But I mean, he's what he's done outside of rapping. He's bought a lot of property and I think he's from Bankhead, so he's bought a lot of property. He's done, a lot of investments to be able to give back to his community. And, to be 23, 24, he sees the benefits and he sees what he needs to do to help with his community and to help, people that are, less fortunate.
What you thought about Kanye running for president?
I mean, Kanye has always been my favorite artist. But I mean, he, I mean, it was a joke. That was nothing but a joke. And I think that, some things you should just not say. And, he should have hired me to kind of help him with his, branding. But, that's neither here nor there. But I mean, it was a joke. It's just like Trump was a joke, but Kanye is really a joke. And I think, well, Trump's was a joke too. They just actually they enabled him to get to where he is. But we kind of shut Kanye down. And Kanye's been very quiet at this point.
I'm trying to figure out here on the ballots, he was the vice president and this dude named Rocky Fuentes was the president. And Kanye was his vice president.
Well, I mean, you could pay to get on the ballot. Like, anybody can run for president. All you gotta do is file the fees or, get enough signatures, petition. So like, me and you could run for president, but I mean, it's like, we're gonna do the legwork, we're gonna do the groundwork, or we're gonna go into the communities, we're gonna talk about our issues and our policies, what we want to do. And his was just,
I'm saying, why was he listed as the vice president though?
Because you could pay to be on the ballot. So you can pay.
So he paid to run with the dude, the Rocky dude?
Yeah. You can pay to do that. Like I said, he had enough signatures. He paid his processing fee, so he could get his name on the ballot. It's just, but I mean, it's still going to be like, how many people are going to vote? Is he going to get the votes? Because, at the end of the day, it's the electoral college, it's the popular vote. So, that's what's going to determine if, and I mean, in your popularity and, what you can bring to the table. All of that is what plays in, if you're going to win or not. His was just to say, my name was on the ballot.
Then what would you like to say to your fans and supporters?
Keep God first, for sure. Keep the faith, and just strive to be the best version of yourself. That's the motto that I've lived by, and I think that it's really been the driving force of who I am today.
I was going to ask you too. Did you go to school? Are you you said you went to school in Arkansas? Did you go to school for politics too?
Yep, my degree is in political science and international relations. I also studied abroad in China, so I have a minor in international relations, and I know a little bit of Mandarin as well. I spent 2 months in China.
Yeah, I was going to say, what would you say to like, I guess, people that want to learn more about politics? Where should they start?
Go to your local community meetings. Find things that whether it's a COVID testing site or, the COVID vaccine or, working the polls, those are going to be the building blocks that, allow you to see it from the inside. We always see the finished product, but when you're able to actually be in it and live through it, it takes you to a better, it allows you to become whole, I would say. Like I said, I started when I was 13. going to community meetings. And initially I went to school to be a film director, but the crazy part about it, after being in politics, now I produce events. So I'm literally living both of my dreams together. And that's what I say. That's why I'm happy with what I do.
Yeah, so what you think about the conspiracy people that be saying like it was like, oh, it don't really matter who the president is because the corporations run, like, they always try to say the corporations are the ones that run the world and all that.
Well, that's
not America.
Then I would say, go file to run for office, understand, try to get that seat at the table so that you can be able to help with the legislation and policies that are going to come from the top down. So it's not a conspiracy. I mean, well, I won't say that. With Trump, it was that's what he did because, like he put all his friends in office that, so that they can continue lining his pockets. But that's why, when you don't vote, that's election has consequences, and that's what happens. So
yeah, somebody told me to ask you about the vaccine. What you think about it? You took it?
So I actually got it. I got it last week. I go for my second dose on the 4th, and I didn't have any side effects. I actually had the virus in December. I didn't have any symptoms, but I knew from that point, I wanted to have it. I tried my hardest to find somebody that could give it to me, and it happened. I did the Pfizer vaccine, which is 95% safe, and the numbers that are of people dying, you have to think about almost 500,000 people have died in less than a year from this virus. And I think that at that point, if there's something out there, the vaccine is not going to kill you. It's actually helping to save you. And, we can save our, relatives, our family members, our friends, at a higher rate. So go get the virus. It's safe, and really, protect your family, protect those around you, protect your loved ones.
All right, bro.
What else can you, like Trump said, what you got to lose? So, but if, when it becomes available, and President Biden, unfortunately inherited basically nothing. So, while we thought that there was leadership on this, well, we knew it wasn't leadership on it, but we thought he at least had something in play, but there was nothing in play. So, testing is going to ramp up. The vaccine is going to ramp up. And, because he doesn't want to see any more lives lost. He's seen enough lives lost. And, for him, he's a person that likes to talk to you face to face and, walk the rope line and like really talk to you and, really want to know how you're doing. And, with COVID, we had to protect him in this bubble. And I think he wants to get back to, some bit of normalcy, with getting everybody fully vaccinated from this horrible virus. So,
all right, yeah. Thanks for coming through politicking with me.
For sure, man. Anytime. Like, this was great. Shout out to all your followers and your, viewers and listeners. Feel free to add me on Instagram. It's Laurence J. Wilson, Laurence with the U. And if you ever want to have me back on or have a conversation, definitely let me know.
Yeah, man, for sure. I gotta stay in touch with you, man. You might be my I know you're gonna keep getting in, moving up in the game, so I gotta stay in touch with you, man. You're gonna be my my what they call it, diplomat or whatever.
Political liaison,
Yeah,
liaison. We'll call it that. We'll call it that. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate it. Shout out to PoPolitickin.